Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mike with FormAWin, and today we're bringing Keith in, one of our awesome students who got an internship and full-time offer. Let's get into the video.
FormAWin for over 4 months
Part
now.
of the FormAWin community for a couple months now.
I just got my first internship.
Just landed my first internship.
Biggest thing I want you guys to do is take one thing away from today and make sure you implement it, change your life.
100% directly resulted in me getting an internship offer.
Keithan, so good to have you here. We've been connected for the past year and a half almost. It's been great. You've really made a lot of progress. I'm so proud of you. And why don't you just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so thanks for having me on. So my name's Keithan. I've been interested in space my whole life, so that went me to go to get a bachelor's in aerospace engineering from Space U or UCF. And then it felt like I didn't really have a strong enough academic background, so I went ahead and straight to the master's right off the bat, just to get a little bit more educational background on the fluid dynamics, propulsion, thermofluid stuff. So got the master's in aerospace engineering also from UCF. So, and then shortly after graduating with the master's, I was lucky enough to get an internship with NASA at Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. And then shortly after that concluded in December, I was offered a full-time role with Amentum at Kennedy Space Center.
Awesome stuff, man. It's a crazy dream come true. It really is because when people say they want to be an engineer, it's like, okay, I want to work at NASA. I mean, number one, we made that happen, and then you obviously went in and then you crushed it. You got a full-time offer out of going through all this, and your expertise, your leadership skills, and all these things speak for itself. But like, it's really cool to kind of like take a step back and think about this, where like this is a childhood dream. You go see a rocket launch, it's like, hey, I want to be doing that, and now you're actually doing that. So it's really cool to kind of like think about that. But yeah, man, let's get into some of the, FormAWin as far as like what your experience was, where you're at. So let's just start a little bit, backtrack. So where were you at before FormAWin?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had gotten a full-time offer from a different company right after my bachelor's, and then due to funding issues, they let me go. So I was constantly applying to jobs while taking master's classes. So that was definitely a struggle. I was applying like crazy, didn't wasn't really getting anywhere. So um, before FOMO was just like applying to jobs like crazy, trying to get that full-time role or another internship to make myself a better candidate.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Right. And then what was that? Would you say that's the biggest frustration you had, or was there another, like something annoying about the process or a frustration, or like what was the biggest thing you were dealing with?
Yeah, so the biggest frustration I would say is probably like all the rejections and not hearing back from companies. So I was applying to like hundreds or so of applications and not really getting anywhere, not getting past the robot screening. And if I did get past the robot, wouldn't get past the phone screening with the HR person. So it was like, okay, I've got the degree, I've gotten internships before, I'm applying. Why am I not getting past this? So that was really frustrating.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, I've been there. I'm sure everybody watching has been there. It's annoying. It's tough because then you just keep doing it. And it's like, okay, cool. And then we're almost there. Then something happens. It's like, okay, we didn't get through it. And it's like, just like each of those is kind of like a little stab to the gut. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, I definitely hear that. So what changed after we started working together?
So, I guess the biggest thing that changed was like the confidence level, both as a professional, as an engineer, as a student. Because the last semester or so, I was more confident going into classes, going into do all the assignments, and then applying to jobs while also growing the networking skills to help me boost my visibility with recruiters and stuff. While it didn't help initially, it's definitely helped in the long run to get the internship, get that full-time role. While it didn't help at the 2 month work mark or so, it definitely paid off in the long run. So definitely that confidence level to still push through, even though you're getting the rejections, definitely was a big thing.
Yeah, man. Like the biggest thing we talk about is always planting seeds, right? And like all these seeds that you've planted, like you're now harvesting, but then it's also going to harvest later on as well. So, I mean, like all this is like how we form a win and everything we talk about. So I love what you're saying, right? Because, a lot of people look for that magic pill or that magic whatever. It's like in the first like 2 seconds, like, all right, cool, we're good now. It's like, no, number one, like we're great, but we need to make sure that we know how to market ourselves. We obviously, like you said, the networking, but then once we're kind of at that point, then we start letting all these things grow and foster. So, yeah, man, 1,000%. And then, who would you recommend FormAWin to and why?
So I would recommend FormAWin to like anyone in like their junior to senior level, or if they're in a graduate level, like 1 to 2 years left of schooling, regardless of bachelor's, graduate school, etc. Just in that stage of applying to jobs. Maybe they've had an internship, maybe they haven't. Whether to get that internship in their last year before applying to jobs, or they've already passed that point of no return of for internships, and then just to go out there and get that full-time role.
Awesome, cool. Now, what's something you weren't doing before that you do now?
So yeah, that would go back to the all the networking. So beforehand, didn't really talk to people. I would only connect with people that, oh, I've worked with you at my part-time job. I worked with you at this role. I worked with you here, but didn't really message them, didn't really interact with them at all. But what I'm doing now is with the people I've either worked with previously or just connected blindly on LinkedIn just to, hey, how are you doing? For example, like a couple weeks ago after the New Year, I messaged a bunch of people saying like, Happy New Year. Hope everything's doing well. Hope to catch up. Some people were willing enough to hop on a quick phone call again just to catch up, and others were just happy to talk on LinkedIn via the messaging platform and just chatting back and forth. So having that interpersonal connection between the people on LinkedIn, even though you've never met them on person, that's definitely a good thing to grow your network and grow that personal connection with people to help you further down the road.
Yeah, and something that we like to call that is like managing your book of business. Something we talk about all the time is treating your career like a business. And now that you have a business, because again, it's not just a job, you're passionate about what you do, but then when we treat it in that fashion and we start tracking things and we're more intentional about things like you've become, just things take it to another level. And then that's where those seeds, harvest as well. So thanks for sharing that. The next thing I have for you is because, before we were talking about applications, maybe struggling a little networking and kind of building all this up. And really being intentional with stuff, maybe, right? I mean, feel free to dive deeper, but how did your approach to internships and jobs change? How did the approach change?
So I would say is like be more deliberate or direct with what I'm applying to. Yes, I'm still gonna cast a wide net as far as like 5, 10 applications a day, but also focusing more directly on what I'm wanting to do, what I'm qualified for, and like say for example, I'm interested in propulsion, so you can even go a little bit further out, like so manufacturing or fluids or aerodynamics or operations engineering, just something to branch off of that to give you that other experience. While it's not directly related, it's still good experience to have for that end goal that you have in mind. So just having your job search targeted towards your goals and what you're wanting to do definitely is more beneficial than just applying to whatever company or job looks cool.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And then, once we start being a little more strategic, then we get to where we want to get to, such as Kennedy Space Center. So I love that, man. Now, my next question for you is as far as mentors go, right? Like my question is like, how did this, like what strategy and system made FormAWin unique for you, right? And something that we always talk about is if you ask mentors for advice, is typically going to run under the same umbrella of, okay, what's your resume look like? Okay, cool, let's fix that. Boom. Okay, go to career fairs, work on some projects, improve your technical skills. So like a lot of mentors say the same thing, right? So what strategy and system did you like most and, was unique for FormAWin for you?
I would say definitely the win checks to help keep you accountable. So you would provide like 5 or so different tasks to do on a weekly basis, such as applying to 5 to 10 jobs a day, looking for events, connecting with people, sending messages, etc. That was definitely helping keep me accountable and like making sure I actually go do those things instead of just say that I did them. I can actually have a checklist and mark it off, saying that yeah, I did that, I did that, I did that, I did that, and then at one, it helps feel like more successful in like what you're doing, and then two, is like the mentor can look and say, oh, you didn't have a great day this day, or didn't have a great week this week here. Let's reconnect, hit it harder, and like go back at it, keeping both of us accountable there.
Yeah. So then when we start tracking it and we have the accountability factor, we get to see the little gaps, right? Or what needs to change, what is working, and where we can double down. And then when we're a little bit more analytical from it, from a kind of 10,000 bird's eye view, and then we have our community where we kind of talk it through, some people going through struggling some things, and we see just that direct aspect. But on the one-on-one aspect, yes, I love that. And then you definitely hit everything really hard, and then we improved a lot from there. So I mean, I'm super proud of you. So I love that. As far as FormAWin with processing issues, maybe, right? Because that's something that I like to talk about a lot. A lot of my mentors, a lot of my coaches, they think about processing issues a little bit differently. So in your kind of traditional day to day, maybe without having a coach, without our support system, how, when you process issues before, how did that change, or like what helped when you joined FormAWin in terms of processing issues, dealing with things, and having that support system?
Yeah, so I had like while being in FormAWin, I had someone like close to my age, a little older, able to like talk through what's going on because they've been in those shoes, they've been in those roles, able to like have that one-on-one connection with someone that's been there, know what you're going through, know like what kind of things are going on in that job market application field. Just someone, because if you have a mentor that's like in their 50s, 60s, they may not have that same relation to what's going on right now versus what they had to deal with, or even someone that's like even in their 40s, it's still like that age gap is a lot harder to overcome with like some of the issues or stuff that are going on now with like all the robots screening your applications and other stuff that's going on now. So like having the age gap being a lot closer was more beneficial to help look through some stuff, or even like on a personal note, like, oh, not having a good day, or I want to do this kind of thing, and having that closer age so you're more related to what we're going with is kind of helpful. Yeah.
Cool. Next question for you, man, is what almost stopped you from joining FormAWin?
Yeah, so kind of be a little open here. When we were chatting with FormAWin before everything, I was like, okay, this guy's messing me right out of the blue. No idea who this is. Like, he's trying to get me to join something. So I was like, kind of thought it was a scam at first. But then once I got to know you and like know your mission, your goals, I'm like, oh yeah, this seems like something that I believe in. We share the same beliefs. Like, he really wants to help me, not just take my money and run. So I was like, oh, now that it's not a scam, this is actually something that's pretty useful.
Yeah, man, 100%. I mean, there's a lot of people in the world that go out and scam, right? So, I mean, thank you for being open, right? Because I mean, the thing is, and I'm glad you resonate with that as far as the passion, the goal, the mission. The biggest thing for us is creating top 1% engineers. And like, I love that's kind of where you're at now, man. And you're pushing forward. You're gonna have a great career. So thank you for sharing that. For everybody that's looking for, a mentor or a coach or a new level or something, make sure you do your homework, make sure they're real. Because the last thing you need to do is kind of go with something without having the proper homework, or just seeing if they're real. Like if they're not willing to hop on a call with you and talk to face, I would think about that. So my next question, Keithan, for you is going to be, what would you say to someone who's on the fence about joining FormAWin?
So if you're on the fence about like where your career is going on, like whether or not you should do it, I say, because I was in that same boat myself, both in the phase 1 when we first started and to phase 2 to continue on the coaching. I was skeptical of doing it. It's like, is it really helping or is it just me doing something better? But I would say definitely give it a chance, because you don't know what it's going to give you until you try it out. And worst case scenario, you're in the same place you're at, but 9 times out of 10, just looking at myself and the other people in the school community, part of FormAWin, it's like they're taking that next step. They're becoming better. So if you give it a chance, most likely you're gonna level up a little bit, level up a lot. It's all dependent on what you put in it. So if you're on the fence about it, so say give it a chance, and if you don't like it, you didn't hurt yourself. You're not going to get worse by joining it.
100%. And like that's the biggest thing too. Like if we look at an example with like fitness trainers or something, right? They'll give you the whole roadmap, exactly what you need to do. But if you don't show up for the workout, like there's only so much that can be done. So I mean, like you see it all the time with everybody, where everybody's putting in the work, feeding off of each other, and just growing, developing, and accomplishing their goals. So thanks for sharing that, Keithan. Got another one here for you. So for FormAWin, as far as phase one, phase two, where we're at, and then just the whole program, was it what you were expecting? Why or why not?
To be honest, I really wasn't sure what to expect going in it. I knew that it was going to help me get a job at some point. I just didn't know like the longevity of how long that would take or how quickly it would go about. But I guess looking back, I was expecting to get a job through the program at some point. I just didn't know how long that would take. So I guess I would. Short answer would be yes. I would say that it was what I was expecting. I just didn't know how long the whole ordeal would take.
Yeah, for sure, man. 1,000%. My last question for you is going to be, if FormAWin disappeared tomorrow, if we were just gone, what would you miss the most?
I'd say probably the one-on-one coaching. That's been really beneficial for me. Like I said, with the interpersonal connections and just having someone close to my age to turn to and like keep me accountable. So while you may have mentors at other jobs or get the skills from somewhere else, but that one-on-one coaching is like, oh, if it's not there, like, oh, what am I going to do now? Like, who's going to help me here? Who do I turn to in these situations?
All right, Keith, and thank you so much. And I mean, we're going to be working on some big things together. So super excited to have you close, for life here as far as you growing in your career in engineering, helping other students grow and developing and becoming a leader. And then for anybody watching, if you need help with anything, reach out to us. More information in the description. But Keith, any last words here? Anything else you want to share?
Thanks for having me on. Wish the best of luck to you and FormAWin. And if anyone's needing to reach out, feel free to message me for any other advice or questions.
All right, guys. Well, go crush it. Have a great week. Go crush your engineering career. Go FormAWin. Bye, guys.